All right, this topic is on and while it doesn't fully fit into our safety, risk management, and loss control, what we do here at One Digital, it does because it has to do, and if you see sprinklers, sprinklers. I wrote it 3 times. It's become a really, really big deal with the property insurance carriers in especially the last 12 months, maybe to 24 months. It's become a bigger and bigger issue every year because the sprinkler, you go back to some of the claims that have been occurring, and especially here in the Chicagoland area, any building owner, property owner, apartment, I mean, whatever you own, and you have the public there, and that there, or product, or individuals, or goods and inventory within your building, the sprinkler issue has become a really big deal with the insurance carriers. In particular, I mean, we insure all across the US, but in the Midwest, it's really become a big deal. Where we just had, and here's for example, they'll look at, the insurance carriers are starting to come in, they first look at, the commodities within the building. Okay, what are the commodities? Then you have this thing called the NFPA, the National Fire Protection. And what they do is they have guidelines based on the racking, the space between the racking, the commodities within the building, the height of the building. And they'll come in and they say, okay, let's see your sprinkler reports. Let's see the flow. Let's look at the density. Let's look at your racking systems. Are the racking systems, what do you have in the racking systems? Do you have wood, cardboard, or is it metal racking systems? What are the products? Are the products wood? Are they metal? Are they paper? You name it. You have, and you just have all these different parameters. And so what they're looking at, because of some big fires, and there was one here locally in Chicago, it was a $20-something million claim. It was a document storage building where they had the aisles really tight, really high, and then the racking system, I mean, you're talking, it was going up, I think they said it was 30 feet up in the air. It was not one of our clients, but the racking systems were solid racks, so there was nothing going down. So when the fire started in the building, sprinklers went off, the water would hit, of course, the top row. Maybe it got to the second row a little bit by going around, but everything down below, the fire just started going, and it heated up so much that it melted everything within the building. So the alarm system was shut off, the electric was shut off, water pumps were shut off. So the whole thing, it just was like that perfect storm. Thing burned for several days, complete loss. And so the insurance companies, that was just one of them that the insurance companies really started to look at this closely. So we're on a one brand new client. Well, it was a prospect at the time. They had gotten non-renewed by the insurance carrier because they said the sprinkler system was not up to par. So they engaged us. We went out to the insurance carriers, went out to the market. Most of the carriers had seen it in the past, and they had declined it in the past due to the sprinkler system. So this individual that owned the company saw that he's going to have problems with his insurance. And he was looking at facing the E&S market, the excess surplus market. So that's where you go. You end up in the excess surplus market when you cannot find a solution within the standard market. So now you're looking at rates probably 25 to 100% more than what you get in the standard market. Coverages are not the same. It's not as robust coverage. You don't get all the extras thrown in that you'll see on a standard insurance carrier's policy. So he was facing that. So we engaged. He was looking at, he had already talked to a sprinkler contractor. They did all their studies and put everything together. And even though the renewal was coming up before the new system was going to be installed, they were working on it. So, we sat down. I said, you're willing to do this. You have already engaged a contractor to do this work. Let's see what the insurance companies say. So we went out to the market. Even those that had declined in the past, I said, look, this is what we have going on. I get it, you declined it in the past. The building was built in 1973. Sprinkler system's not up to par, but they are working on it. They're willing to do it. And they know they're not just doing it to buy insurance, but they were doing it because they wanted a safe environment for employees. They wanted a safe environment for all their products. So we went out and I started explaining it to the insurance carrier. I said, look, this is what they're willing to do. This is what they are doing. And this is the end result. If you have any suggestions to make it even better, we are all willing to listen to what you have to say. So at the end of the day, we were almost still facing the E&S market. two carriers came down to the wire and they said, look, if they're willing to do this, even though it's not where it should be and we declined it in the past, we're going to take a look at this. They came out, they did the inspections, they had their safety teams, their sprinkler teams really engaged in it. They engaged the sprinkler contractor, they engaged the customer, they engaged us, and at the end of the day, we came up with a resolution with an insurance carrier in the standard market with the robust coverages, everything there. We got them with a standard carrier, and the best thing is that it actually saved them 25% over what they were paying with the old carrier that non-renewed them because they were not up to speed on their sprinkler system. So there are solutions out there. You just need to be able to put together the story, sell it to the insurance carriers, get them to understand, get them engaged. It's not all is lost if you're willing, but like I said, you have to be willing to do what it takes to get it to where you are insurable. So if you're anyone out there facing the same situation, you think it's all for naught, or maybe you are in the E&S market already, give me a call, send me an email, send me a message. I'd love to talk to you, love to sit down. Let's determine your situation. Let's determine what we're doing, where we're going, how we're gonna do it. We may be able to help you. Can't guarantee it, but in this situation, it worked out for the best. We ended up with the best program available. We ended up with one of the best carriers out there, best claim service, and they are willing, like I said, they were willing to listen and they're willing to work with us, and not that even have to do it in 30 days, but there's a whole timeline over the next 12 months. Like, hey, let's get to this point, let's get to that point. What was really interesting though, so the owner, CEO, when we sat down after all this, he's been in business, well, the company has been in business for 80 years or something. He's third generation. He goes, Tom, what's interesting, what's going on now, he goes, back in the day, we had the sprinkler system. All you said, oh, you have a sprinkler? Yes, I got a sprinkler. I go, oh, I know. That is, I want to say it was a wild, wild west back then because people didn't know what they didn't know until these big claims started hitting. Like I was talking about the $20 million claim. There's been those all across the nation, these situations. And I go, because I remember I started in 1990. And back then you had the questionnaire and sprinklers, yes or no. Alarms, yes or no. And so you check yes, oh, you got a discount for sprinklers. Check yes, you got a discount for alarms. Well, now it's a lot different because you check yes for sprinklers. Alarms, you check yes, they're like, oh, okay, you got an alarm, they're gonna come by, they'll see that right away. But sprinklers, you check yes, you better get ready for the questions because the insurance carriers and the inspection to make sure that what you have in place is what's going to keep you, your employees, and your company, and your assets, and your inventory safe. So, any of y'all have any questions out there, just reach out to me anytime. I'd love to help you out, whether you're in the E&S market already, whether you are outside of the E&S. I'd love to help you. We'll sit down, we'll talk, we'll sell it to the insurance company and make sure that you have the best deal for you, your company, and all your employees.